nominate Honorable Tajuddin Abbas.
I so second.
I rise to humbly accept the nomination.
Is hereby declared the winner and returned elected as the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
We see in it a true reflection of hope.
Lawmakers laud 2024 budget proposal. Say it is a true reflection of hope.
This budget is going to move our nation forward.
And House paves way for budget defense as 2024 Appropriation Bill scales second reading. Many thanks for joining us on the program House Tickets, a weekly digest on the workings of the legislative arm of government, the House of Representatives in particular. I am your regular anchor, Dihelia Mamza. Our major story on the program today is the budget presentation by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Lawmakers' reactions, as well as the debate on the general principles of the 2024 Appropriation Bill, form part of the program. Join me after the break for all of these reports and more. Please stay tuned.
The House will pay priority attention to participatory budgeting process and delivery, law reform, electoral reform, women's participation and inclusion in governance, among others.
Thanks for staying tuned. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Wednesday, 29th November 2023, presented the 2024 budget proposal to a joint session of the National Assembly. It was titled, Budget of Renewed Hope. Giving the breakdown of the 2024 Appropriation Bill, the President gave an aggregate expenditure of 27.5 trillion naira proposed for the federal government in 2024, of which the non-debt recurrent expenditure is 9.92 trillion naira, while debt service is projected to be 8.25 trillion naira, with capital expenditure at 8.7 trillion naira. He explained that Nigeria remains committed to meeting its debt obligations.
Projected debt service is 45% of the expected total revenue. The budget deficit is projected at 9.18 trillion naira in 2024, or 3.88% of GDP. This is lower than the 13.7 trillion naira deficit recorded in year 2023, which represents 6.11% of GDP. The deficit will be financed by new borrowings totaling 7.83 trillion naira. Strategically, 298 billion naira from privatization proceeds and 1.05 trillion naira drawdown on multilateral and bilateral loans secured for specific projects. Our government remains committed to broad-based and shared economic prosperity.
President Tinubu said the 2024 budget proposals reflect the serious challenges facing the country, adding that the upward trend of inflation in the country is a reflection of global conditions.
To contain this rising domestic prices, we will ensure effective coordination of fiscal and monetary policy measures and collaborate with subnational governments to address structural factors driving inflation in Nigeria. The budget proposal meets our goal of completing critical infrastructure projects, which will help address structural problems in the economy by lowering the cost of doing business for companies and the cost of living for average person.
Analyzing the 2023 budget performance, the president had this to say.
An aggregate revenue of 11.045 trillion naira was projected to fund the 2023 budget of 24.82 trillion naira, with a deficit of about 6.1% of GDP. As of September 30th, the federal government's actual aggregate revenue inflow was 8.65 trillion naira, approximately 96% of the targeted 8.28 trillion naira. Despite the challenges, we continue to meet all our obligations.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu also spoke on the priorities of the 2024 budget proposals.
The proposed budget seeks to achieve job-rich economic growth, macroeconomic stability, a better investment environment, enhanced human capital development, as well as poverty reduction and greater access to social security. Defense and internal security are recorded top priority. The internal security architecture will be overhauled to enhance law enforcement capabilities and safeguard lives, property, and investment across the country.
On behalf of the National Assembly, I express sincere gratitude to Mr. President.
In his vote of thanks after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu laid the 2024 budget estimates before the joint session, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, said that the 2024 Appropriation Bill should not be seen as a mere financial document, but rather a reflection of their collective resolve to address the most critical needs of long-suffering citizens.
It is a well-known fact that millions of our constituents are living through incredibly difficult times. For this reason, they also look to your own administration to provide quick and sustainable solutions. The antecedents of the President and your track record in governance inspire a lot of people and hope in Nigerians. Mr. President, it is for this reason that we cannot afford to fail Nigerians. If anyone can change the road and chart a new course for Nigeria, it is emphatically you. I have no doubt whatsoever that you can measure up to the expectations of Nigeria through your visionary leadership and commitment to the National Assembly.
Speaker Abbas Tajuddin also recalled that in the recent engagement with ministries, departments and agencies on the medium-term expenditure framework, lawmakers emphasized the need for revenue-generating agencies to double their targets to meet the 18 trillion naira revenue projected in the budget. Describing government budgets as an important tool for promoting growth and development, Speaker Abbas stated that it had generally not met the expectations of improved service delivery and development.
This has largely been due to challenges relating to budget enactment, budget implementation, and budget oversight. The well-known gaps in the various stages of the budget process underscore the need for budget reforms, including altering relevant sections of the Constitution and existing laws to strengthen the budget process and transform our budget into an authentic tool for development. For this reason, I propose enacting a Budget Act to strengthen the budget process and promote development outcomes. This is a well-established practice in democracies across the world.
He then assured President Tinubu that the National Assembly will give the bill the utmost priority it deserves and accelerate its consideration, adding that lawmakers will diligently scrutinize it alongside Nigerians to ensure that when it is passed, it will be a budget that best addresses the most critical needs of the people.
It is our duty to ensure that the budget reflects the principles of transparency.
Speaking earlier while giving his welcome address, the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, said that the presentation of the budget estimates sets the course for the nation's fiscal policies and priorities for the coming year. He saw it as an opportunity for them to deliberate, scrutinize, and collaborate in order to ensure that the budget aligns with the needs, hopes, and aspirations of the Nigerian people.
Therefore, the National Assembly bears a great responsibility in the task of reviewing and approving the budget. We fully understand the weight of this responsibility and the impact our decisions will eventually have on the lives and on the welfare of the Nigerian people. It is our duty to ensure that the budget reflects the principles of transparency, accountability, and inclusiveness. Consequently, we will certainly conduct a very thorough and meticulous review of the estimates you are about to present to us.
The Senate President noted that strong emphasis has been placed on national security as a cornerstone for progress, adding that the challenges demand a united front to overcome. Following the presentation of the budget, our crew sought the views and opinions of lawmakers on the 2024 budget proposal. Here's what they had to say.
I think the budget represents some degree of hope. Hope in the sense that we have some of the indices that are used for the budget which appear comforting, as it were. One of which, for example, is the projection that we're going to be having a lower inflation rate. The projection also on using a lesser percentage of our GDP for debt servicing. Now, with that job creation, you agree with me that there's nothing we can accomplish in this country, and this is a budget that also talks about the potential of creating jobs for our teeming youth.
We are hardworking people. We have good work ethics. The committee work has started. When we leave here today, we are breaking into committee sessions. The work has started. We want to make sure that every single committee is working. With that same relationship, robust relationship with the executive, I'm sure by the time we put all this together and everything starts from January 2024, by the end of December 2024, 95% at least of this budget would have been implemented.
We see in it a true reflection of hope. And from what I see, this is a budget that will truly reflect on the yearnings and aspirations of the Nigerian people. And going by the doctrine of separation of powers, the legislature, from this point, we take on to scrutinize the budget components to ensure that it really fits to size and is cut to fit the intendment of the proponents and the proposals in line with alleviating poverty and the 8 core components or thematic areas of this renewed hope agenda.
This year's budget is fairly a bit delayed. You will recall previous budget presentations used to come around October, and this is coming on the 29th of November, meaning that we are going to work extra harder and put in more of this. In the interest of Nigerians who elected us, we are going to be committed to the whole process.
We have agreed that we are going to have a joint session in ensuring that we look at the budget, we scrutinize the budget properly, and also ensure that whatever is going to be in that budget that will be passed eventually will be what will be needed by Nigerians it must be centered on Nigerians. It must be centered on the needs of Nigerians, putting security forward, and of course poverty alleviation, and of course trying to remove the hardship that we think the fuel subsidy has caused on Nigerians.
We are going to invite all the MDAs to come and defend what they have done in 2023 and to explain details in the 2024 their proposals. And of course, you know, we are going to work day and night to make sure that this budget will pass it before end of December 31st.
Still on the 2024 budget proposal, the House on Thursday 30th November and Friday 1st December 2023 debated the 2024 Appropriation Bill at second reading. The House sat in plenary on Friday, which is unusual, in order to make sure the bill gets accelerated hearing. Our next report, as compiled and presented from our studio, brings you details of the debate on the general principles of the bill. Do stay tuned.
Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria.
To begin with, the 2024 Appropriation Bill was presented for first reading on Wednesday, 29th November 2023. The bill is titled A Bill for an Act to Authorize the Issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 27,503,404,073,861 naira only, of which 1,376,352,359,690 naira only is for statutory transfers. 8,490,960,660,831 naira only is for debt service. 9,918,248,229,600 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 7,717,877,740 naira only is for contribution to the Development Fund capital expenditure for the year ending on 31st December 2024. It was presented for second reading on Thursday, 30th November 2023. House Leader Representative Julius Ihonvere led the debate on the general principles, wherein he explained that the 2024 budget looks into critical issues such as availability of resources, options of funds, performance of previous budgets, and percentage of appropriations of available funds for all critical areas.
We move motions and motions about insecurity, so that it is taking almost 12% of the budget is not an accident. He talked about the need to overhaul the entire security architecture. And I believe that once security is properly tackled in this country, among other things, there will be an increase in the production of goods and services. Many businesses today, they close by 6 p.m. because they are afraid that they will be raided. Many farmers do not go to their farms because of bandits and kidnappers and assassins. Many transporters have reduced their fleets to just safe areas, similarly because of insecurity. So I think the focus of this budget on security as a prime area is a very, very positive move for which we must give support to the budget. The increase in the
Lawmakers took turns to speak on various areas of the budget and their expectations.
There cannot be any economy without proper security. The president came as a good architect to lay the foundation for what the security architecture needs to look like. And now we layered on top of that yesterday with a well-considered and well-robust budget, which I think is not only going to serve our nation right. Mr. Speaker, I believe without any reservation that this budget is going to move our nation forward.
Where we have issue, I'm sorry to say, is with the members of the parliament, which I am inclusive, without doing a proper oversight function to make sure that money appropriated is used for the purpose intended without any compromise is equally an important thing we should bear at the back of our minds as members of the parliament.
The increase in the value of the budget itself is not quite a lot,
That brings to bear the fact that Mr. President will be bringing his wealth of experience as former governor of Lagos to transform our country in this first budget that he has presented to the National Assembly.
I hope when we have details of this budget, Mr. Speaker, and I hope we get it soon, considering the constraints of time, that this budget finally achieves the 26% threshold the UNESCO has been advocating for years. As we discuss the issues about revenues and the need for borrowing, the federal government has an excellent report on its table, the Oronsaye report. Mr. Speaker, if Nigeria wants to consolidate revenues, decrease wastage, and ensure efficiency,
a budget which will go further than ever.
The debates continued on Friday, 1st December 2023, as lawmakers took turns to speak on the general principles.
We know hunger is everywhere. We know insecurity is everywhere. And that is why I am glad that emphasis was given to security, job creation, and poverty reduction. But, Mr. Speaker, if I may be asked to give a name for this budget, I would say let's us change the name Renewed Hope. Because when you said renewed hope, what are you renewing it to? To be candid, in the last 8 years, if we would say the truth to ourselves, there was nothing for us to be hopeful about. So this budget should be tagged Budget of Hope.
The level of hunger in this country today, Mr. Speaker, we are pleading that this 18 trillion estimated revenue in this budget, let the renewed hope by this time next year, let it not be a renewed hopelessness.
We, as legislators, we must do our work, particularly our oversight functions, and make sure that the agencies abide by the provisions and the execution of the provisions of the budget.
It is our duty, collective responsibility, through our interaction with NDAs, to look at the budget through various committees and scrutinize it. But as we are doing that, the major area, apart from infrastructural development we are looking for, insecurity should be dealt with.
Since the removal of fuel subsidy, life has been extremely difficult for those of us who come from the riverine areas of this country, because our cost of going to our communities, cost of transportation of goods and services have gone 3-4 times more than what it takes to transport such services within motorable areas of Nigeria. And no reference, Mr. Speaker, it will surprise you that no reference is being made as to how to alleviate this hardship that the people from the riverine areas are going through. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we appear to be like people who are not part of the Nigerian budget. We appear to look like a people who are not considered any time the Nigerian nation shares the goodies of this country.
Those in support of this bill be read for the second time should say aye.
Following the debate, the bill was voted on, approved for second reading, and was referred to the House Committee on Appropriations, as well as other standing and subcommittees of the House for further work.
The ayes have it. The clerk.
And it is on that note that we end the program. Do keep your questions, comments and observations coming in through our social media handles currently showing on your screens. Keep a date with us next week for another wonderful edition of the program. Remember to stay safe always. Bye-bye.